Chapter 30 by Uday Kalra, Adrian Liu, Michael Zhu, and Richard Chen. The Soviet Union was under an economic crisis by the 1980s. Following that, in 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev came to power. He wanted to reform the Soviet Party through perestroika, meaning restructuring, and glasnost, meaning openness. Competitive elections were instituted, allowing for non-communist parties to run. Gorbachev was elected as the first president of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev's policies impacted many Soviet-controlled territories in Eastern Europe, many of which shed the communist regime and enacted a democratic government. The election of Gorbachev meant the reduction of the Soviet dictatorship, which led to many nationalistic revolts. Boris Yeltsin, the president of the Russian Republic, led a resistance in an attempt to remove Gorbachev in 1991. The Soviet Union was abolished that December, and a temporary Commonwealth of independent states replaced it. Though Yeltsin helped the market economy and supported a plural political system, he was fueled by corruption and resigned in 1999. Following his resignation, a former KGB official, Vladimir Putin, replaced him. Putin's office led to economic progress, a result of influx of oil and natural gases, but a more centralized government. Though many liberal reforms were enacted, the issue with the Soviet Republic still remained.
Between the reign of Gorbachev and election of Putin, many foreign reforms were established. The Berlin Wall crumbled, and Germany reunited the two halves. Much like the Soviet Union, the transition to a free market democratic society was not in the least bit easy. The reunification had a major catch. Due to former Eastern Germany's bankrupt economy, reunified Germany suffered from much of the same consequences. Some of the eastern states joined NATO, and many more joined the EU. Ethnic demand shook Yugoslavia, at the time dominated by Serbs, which resulted in war when Croatia called for independence. Ethnic cleansing occurred in Bosnia-Herzegovina against the Muslim majority. Eventually, the province was divided among Serbs, Muslims, and Croats, but only a bombing campaign by NATO brought autonomy to Kosovo with its ethnic Albanian majority.
In 1997, Britain's Labour Party moved to the political center, and Tony Blair was elected as Prime Minister. Blair's office was tarnished due to corruption and his support for the Iraq War. By 2004, the population of the European community was 455 million. The EC became the European Union in 1994, and a common currency, the euro, was adopted by most member states. A single common market had been establishing, but nationalistic attitudes still remained, and a common foreign policy was yet to be achieved. The United States was faring very well, and the 1990s was a period characterized by prosperity. However, Bill Clinton's presidency was ruined due to his affair with a White House intern.
Though the Cold War was over, there was a new era of conflict, the Age of Terrorism. The Age of Terrorism was an era symbolized by acts of terror due to nationalistic, political, economic, and increasingly radical religious thoughts. The immediate response from the West was war against Iraq and Afghanistan. More women began to join the workforce, and many women's rights movements blossomed. Against Christian doctrine, women used a higher volume of artificial contraceptives and had more abortions, which in turn led to the decrease in birth rates. Neo-expressionism was extremely popular. New styles of music like grunge and hip-hop began to develop. The world was becoming more digitalized, with companies like Microsoft and Nintendo emerging as potential Fortune 500 companies. Issues like global warming and mass immigration were still hot-button topics that dominated the conversation.
On another note, the rise of terrorism in the nation can be compared to the Cold War, as radically inclined nations and groups such as the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda have caused a Soviet-esque tension to arise as threats of intercontinental war come closer to fruition. Thank you.